It's a 250,000 acre vast park out here in the Chihuahua Desert at the border between Mexico and Texas. Got another camping trip, mountain bike trip. We're going to go deep into the desert. Got a nice little camping spot picked out here. Shout out to Bo and Legion of Men. He said make some videos and he'll show them on his channel hopefully. Anyway, we're going to be out here camping, and so we've got here, I got the Ridgeline truck. Just got this truck, but I've got the homemade do-it-yourself camper set up. It's a pretty unique setup. Now what we do here is a little bit different. Its setups are, it's kind of like when you go camping, you have just a small tent. The tent you just use to sleep in. That's all you use it for, is lie down and sleep. So that's what we do here. And it's much more comfortable. And then everything, when you camp, you're supposed to be outdoors, cooking outdoors and everything. Here's the like the cargo, where when you go out, this is the cargo side, and then you've got the bed side here, and it's got these nice rollers, and this is beautiful for rolling up plywood and sheetrock and also kayaks. So it doubles as a cargo loader. So we're going to unload it, and we're going to show you how it converts into a really nice little camper. So I'm going to do that and get back with you in here just a little bit. Okay, it's morning back at the camp. I ran out of daylight last night and didn't get a chance to show you the setup. So we got camp going here. Great view over here. Got the outdoor camp, and to show you around. And this is the setup. The sleep-only camper setup that we got, and so we got Blue Eddy powered by solar panels up there. It's recharging now because it was powering the diesel heater. Pretty cold last night, so we got a diesel heater hooked up, and that gives you heat. Now this is sleep only. It doubles as a cargo thing. It breaks down very easily. Once you're done, it takes just 15 minutes to break. Everything breaks down flat, and you have your pickup bed back. As to where those where they try to make an RV out of a camper shell truck camper, it's now, your truck is now dedicated to being a camper. You can't do truck stuff with it. You can't do truck stuff with it anymore because it's all built in and everything. Okay, let me show you inside. This is what it's like inside. Just open the door here, and you've got a really nice cozy indoor here. About a 6 to 8 inch memory foam mattress. Okay, we're out here at Big Bend Ranch, and what we're going to be going deep out of the tourist areas and find the hidden gems that almost nobody visits, because you really have to go deep and get adventurous to find these hidden places. There's an old cattle. They used to do cattle out here like 50 to 100 years ago. But yeah, if you go deep, you get the rewards. When you go deep, you really have to have your survivalist instincts. Because if things go wrong and you're deep, you know, things can go really bad, and there's a lot of survival tips out there. But for out here in the desert, there's two things that you really should concentrate on the very most. Two words: water and lost. So if those things are taken care of as much as you possibly can, your chances of survival go way up. So look at it this way: if you were able to go out on these adventures and you had a huge drone that followed you around with 100 gallons of water for you to have plenty of water, and you were able to flip out a mini laptop, and you'd have military grade satellite coordinates, and you've studied the area very intensely, and so you know it like the back of your hand. Just those two things are going to make your chances of survival very high, very high. That's kind of how I prepare myself. I have a 64 ounce bladder full of water, plus I have another container of water in case something happens to that water, and I have a filter straw, and I know where the springs are around here. I have GPS navigation unit, and I very carefully studied this area where, like right now, I know exactly where I am, and so that's kind of what you need for survival out here. Water lost. It's completely overgrown, hasn't been used in decades. Last I was out here was 10 years ago, and there was a extremely rugged but barely make-outable Jeep road out to the bunkhouse, but that is completely gone, and they've built another trail. So it's going to be very difficult to try to find it, but I think if we get up over this hill here, it'll give us some vantage point. So we can take a look. It might be over to the other side of this hill. We're in an extremely remote area right now, way off the beaten path. Up this hill. Thought it was going to be out this way, but I think it's out this way. I'll hike just a little bit more, and I believe we found it. I believe there it is. There's the old bunkhouse. We'll go and visit the bunkhouse. The road is just invisible right now, so we'll just cross-country hike. We'll have to hike down, scramble down, and then hike over to there and check it out. But people that visit this park, hundreds of thousands of them, most of them go, there's a highway to the south border of the park which goes through, and it's a nice scenic, it's one of America's most scenic drives, and it goes past the Contrabando movie set, and that was back in the 60s during the Western heydays. They did the movie Contrabando, and they built like a makeshift adobe city. They built it themselves. They made it kind of cheaply. And so tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people pull over to the Contrabando movie website and take a picture, and they post it on Facebook. Oh, I was at the Contrabando, here I am at the Contrabando movie site. Oh, you're a real adventurer, Karen. Shit, for about every 50 to 100,000 people that visit the Contrabando movie site, only one person makes it out here. This is where the real gold is. This area isn't about fucking Hollywood coming in and making a movie set and making a role play western one time and then leaving and everyone, oh, Hollywood. This is what this place is about. This was the realm of men. Extremely rugged lifestyle. Cattle ranching. Here's the bunks. Here's the bunker where they slept. The bunk quarters. So you got the old bunk frames on there, and you go in here, and they're still kind of here. This is the kitchen. This has got this old stove. It's probably worth a fortune, but you're not getting it out of here. But look what the guys put up on the walls over here, guys. You might recognize these from the 60s. They put pinups on the wall from Hustler magazine. Oh man, they've really deteriorated because this is wide open. But when I was here 10 years ago, like, this girl's real fine. These were in much better. Oh, some of them are like almost gone now. These are from the 60s. Probably somewhere around 60s or 70s was the last time that this was occupied. But of course, this is where they made dinner. This old stove is probably worth a fortune, like I say, but it's getting deteriorated too. These old porcelain stoves. But like I say, this is what this land is about. This is the realm of men, rugged cattle ranchers, hunters, not some Hollywood site. So this is the nice rarities that you get when you go deep, but you got to go really deep. I mean, that was a rugged route, and yeah, I still got some thorns. I picked up some thorns. There's the realm of rugged men out here, and I'll insert a picture. I'll see if I can insert a picture where they did. They harvested candle wax out of candelilla plants. An extremely rugged way to make a living. They had to harvest that in these thorns in this heat, and then they had to boil it in acid to get the wax out of it. And when their shoes wore out, they cut out pieces of tire tread and hammered them on their shoes to resole their shoes. And those retreads are still out there. I took a picture of them. I'll insert that if I can find that. Here's a good shot of the candelilla plants that they used to harvest wax from back from like the 1890s to the 1940s. Extremely harsh way to make a living. They had to come out here in the heat and the thorns to collect this candelilla plant. Then they had to take it to a big vat with acid in it and build a fire. So we had to go out and collect the firewood. Build a fire, put in a vat of acid, and that would separate the wax, and then they would sell the wax. And this was before paraffin wax. This is how they got wax. Extremely harsh way to make a living. Go over just a few thoughts. Now, when I was growing up, one of my favorite novels that really stuck with me, even as a young child, was, and I really forgot the name of the novel, but the novel was about young Indian boys, young Indian scouts. They had to go off into the winter to become braves, and if they survived the winter, they had to survive on their own in the wintertime, and they'll come back braves. Now, if one of the scouts was able to kill the white wolf and bring back the white wolf pelt, then he'll become chief. And so all the young Indian scouts went off into the winter, and this one Indian scout was doing really well. He was able to make himself a shelter and hunt him down some game to sustain himself through the winter. And he was able to kill the white wolf and collect the white pelt. So he was in his shelter with this white wolf pelt. And another young Indian scout came to a shelter, starving to death and near death. And so the young Indian scout, he helped his fellow scout, giving him some food and everything. And when he woke up, the other scout was gone, and the white wolf pelt was gone too. Now the scout that he had helped stole the white pelt, went back to the tribe, and he was declared chief as a reward for hunting the white pelt. Now here's the moral of that story. Every night, for the rest of their lives, when those two Indians laid their heads on their fur blanket, only one of them was chief, and he knew it. And that stood with me through my whole life, and it really comes into play many times when you just don't get the credit for the things you do. So you got to know that you got to stand in your kingdom regardless of what anyone else thinks. Stand in your kingdom, know what you did, and if no one acknowledges it, or if no one's thankful for what you did, that's perfectly okay, because the universe knows what you did. The universe knows who you are. You don't need acknowledgement from anybody. Your truth stands. Okay, what I wanted to add, which I did mention in the fireside chat there, is that when the protagonist Indian got back to the tribe, he didn't mention anything about the pelt being stolen from him. He didn't proclaim that he's the real chief. he remained silent, and he let the other Indian who stole the pelt become the fake chief. And that's what he was. He was a fake chief, and he was the real Indian chief, regardless of what anyone thought. And if the rest of the tribe knew the facts, they would also agree that the protagonist is the true chief. And that's the lesson you should take with you through your life, is that your truth stands regardless of what other people think. Okay, now we're on the Fresno-Sauceda Loop. It's, I believe it's called Fresno-Sauceda Loop. It's an International Mountain Bike Association epic trail. It's one of the few trails in the nation that gets the epic status. And I was possibly the first person to ever mountain bike right here. It's much more worn out than it was before. It was when the park started back in '97, 28 years ago. You weren't even supposed to be out here, and I was I was out here on a mountain bike, and nothing was cleared up. It's been bladed and cleared, and it's still super rough. But back then it was an old trade route. I've been riding 28 years. It's pretty much my favorite place to ride. Again, over here is the Solitario. You can see the tilted plates from where the volcanic eruption tilted up the strata layers. Those are called flat iron formations. Beautiful canyon views along here. This is like the edge of the Solitario. It bubbles up, then it makes a crater. This kind of makes a ridge all the way around. It's 8-mile diameter. Another real good view of the flat iron formations. Okay, here's another one of our deep discoveries from going deep. Actually, the park has made it out here and laid some stones out. This was just completely uncharted for the longest time. But this is Native American. When I say Native American, I mean ancient Native American, 3,000 to 5,000 years ago, cave dwelling. Coming up on here, we'll see some interesting things over here. Is sharpening marks or tool making marks of some kind on the rock here. Get a good shot of those all over the rock where they sharpened. Maybe this is a harder stone that they were able to sharpen their flint with or something. And you see a lot of soot from fires. There's actually some ancient remained fire charcoals back there. But what's interesting about this is up here. Now these handprints, you can find these exact same handprints 6,000 miles away through 6,000 miles of sea in Australia during the same time period. Kind of makes you go, how did people way out in this remote desert, and people, thousands of miles away, do the exact same kind of cave art? Just really makes you wonder. Here's a little bit of a campfire soot. You go back here. These are just some leftover pieces of the vegetation. Some of this might be stuff that animals have taken back here to make nests, but again, this soot. Just a little cave dwelling. Just the deep rewards from going deep. Okay, here we are at the third little hidden gem, the Cinco Tanajos Sacred Inner Chamber. And 10-20 years ago when we were coming out here, there's no one out here, no one at all. There's some footprints of people who, because they've designated, they've got a marked trail now going that way. This is off trail, but what we're going to do is scramble into the heart of the sacred heart of the Cinsotenajos to give you a rare treat. And they got a trail to the Cinsotenajos overlook, and that's up there. So maybe one out of 1,000 people that come to the overlook go inside the chamber. Only 1 in 1,000 people who visit the park go to the overlook. So this is we're gonna scramble up this rock here and get inside and show you the never seen before inner chamber. Okay, here we are, Cinsotenajos sacred inner chamber. Now, I did see some footprints. Look like some people had, a few people have found this place, but since they, like I say, since I designated a trail really near, it's gonna be easier for people to find. But they're just really dry. This should be a pool of water. You see the water line drains down. We'll go up here. Cinsotenajos, 5 water holes. So maybe it's like 1, 2, 3, and then there's 4 or 5 up there. Go on up the smooth rock. That was this is a nice deep one. Okay, here's where you can't go any further, but that's a nice deep hole right there. Lots of water. Man, that's deep, yeah. Well, yeah, it's nice and cold. So, yeah, it's a Cinsotenajos, and see if I can make it out of here, because downhill is always more treacherous. Yeah, famous last words. That's another successful Big Bend Ranch trip. We're all packed up, ready to go, and we'll do it again pretty soon.